Ready to move on? Let's talk about Elijah Robinson. Actually, a guy that was brought up on the show a couple times before. He's headed over to Syracuse by way of Texas A&M. Why is this important, right? You're looking at his resume. If you're, I don't know, on a computer, you might be looking him up on Wikipedia and you're like, has this guy ever called a play on defense? I don't think he has, at least in college football. I don't think he has. It's like, why is this one of the best coordinator hires in this cycle to us, right? The reason is because of recruiting, right? In this business, talent acquisition is, I'm not going to say it's number one, but it is dang important. Talent acquisition is very important. And in Syracuse, you're looking at a team that in the last 2 years, zero players from the state of Pennsylvania. You're at Syracuse in New York. Pennsylvania is a gold mine. And you're telling me you landed zero players in the state of Pennsylvania in the last 2 years? It's inexcusable. You know how many Elijah Robinson and Fran Brown have gotten just in the last couple months? Three already. We're a couple months into this thing. That's the kind of impact that Elijah Robinson has. Elijah Robinson was going into New Jersey. He was going into Pennsylvania. He was going into Washington, California, Louisiana. He was snagging players from all over the place, man. He is an elite recruiter. 2022, he won National Recruiter of the Year. Here's a list of some of the players that he's gotten: Walter Nolan, DJ Hicks, LT Overton, DeMarvin Leal, Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. Oh, wait, that's now we're gonna get into the 4 stars. Like, and then you go down the list and you're like, this guy, you have to go down 25 players that he's recruited before you get to his first 3 star. So yeah, maybe he doesn't have a ton of experience calling defenses, okay? But in terms of talent acquisition, him and Fran Brown are going to be lethal. And Fran Brown, of course, was his good friend uh, back. I believe they're both from New York or New Jersey, one of the two.
Which is
Either
part of the
way,
appeal to that, which makes it
yeah,
awesome that they're both back in there.
yeah, it just like, so who knows if it's gonna work out, schematically, but you have to believe that a team like Syracuse, right, and with the way that college football is changing, right, like you don't know what college football is gonna look like in 5 years, but I can tell you one thing, that today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 10 years ago, one of the most telling indicators of how successful a team is going to be is how well they acquire talent. And yeah, there are outliers, and I get it. You can tell me and look at me and be like, stars don't mean everything. Yes, I'm hearing what you're saying in that capacity that, yeah, there are people that are overlooked, maybe people that are overlooked, but the reality is that there's a strong correlation between recruiting rankings and legitimate success in college football. And now success is relative, of course, but Syracuse could maybe take some steps that they haven't taken since the 90s, early 2000s, right? I mean, that we're talking kind of like historic precedents that this team could start setting in terms of, like, at least for the Syracuse team in this millennium, like it could get pretty nuts over there. So, um, people who don't believe in Elijah Robinson as a play caller, which, by the way, how could you or how could you not? He doesn't really have any experience, but the point is, this was a very good hire for Fran Brown and Syracuse.
Yeah, I'll say this too is that not only the players that you talked about that he's come in contact with, like elite recruiters, developer, all that good stuff that you want. But you want to talk about his coaching resume too, in terms of his network and who he has, worked with. Not like so he was back at Baylor and Temple. By the way, Temple up in Philadelphia with Matt Rule. He was at Penn State, like you mentioned, in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania as well. Matt Rule, Mike Elko. Like he's got, to me, I believe he's been around enough good minds that he can figure it out. Him and Fran Brown combined can figure it out and call defense. I think absolutely. And not only that, I mean, you're seeing immediate returns, immediate dividends. Look at their 2025 recruiting class. Yes, it's early. I know it's May. You'll be June. I get that. You have 19 guys committed. 19 guys at Syracuse and Fran Brown decided we're good enough to pull the trigger on and accept the commitment. That's
Some good
awesome.
players, some
Some
good
good,
players
good
too.
players. And you're looking at New York, New Jersey, 3 from Pennsylvania, like you said, down in Texas, Connecticut, Georgia, Massachusetts. You're trying to take back the Northeast, like you said. Yeah. I, I mean, this is an exciting one. To me, because Syracuse, they're not expected to win the ACC or compete for a playoff. No, no, no. But I do think they can do some really fun things here over the next couple of years with Fran Brown. Why not? In an era where it's all about, not all about, but it's mainly about, like you said, recruiting prowess and gathering, evaluating, and recruiting talent. Why wouldn't you want to have Elijah Robinson and Fran Brown on your team? Absolutely. You absolutely would. I think it could be very fun.
Yeah, look, and it sounds like I think with our tone that, if you've been watching the full video and you watched our video on Blake Baker and Dan Lin, you're like, wait, are you higher on Elijah Robinson than you are on these other folks? Guys, if I was running a college football program like LSU, yeah, I would probably hire Blake Baker over Elijah Robinson. Okay. The point is, for Syracuse, this is a phenomenal hire, and it could send Syracuse through the ceiling, or what they thought their ceiling was, right, as a program.
Yeah, and also eh, like there's two ways to go about it. If you're Fran Brown, you could be conservative or you can get aggressive. A guy that you trust and know, Elijah Robinson, who has Northeast roots in Elijah Robinson, but also the upside is there. If he can call defense, bro, I mean, you're looking at massive, massive, you know, I don't want to call it like, out shooting yourself, out kicking your coverage type thing that Syracuse can steal for a couple of years or maybe even longer with Elijah Robinson. I mean, he's a loyal guy. Like you saw him, he followed Matt Rule, right? Matt Rule left to the NFL. Like he went to A&M, right? And he was there for a long, long time, was loyal to A&M, and then
Waiting for promotion,
waiting
never
for
got
promotion,
it.
didn't quite get it, ended up at Syracuse, where he probably had other jobs, absolutely, in the Southeast to be a D-line coach, do whatever. But he wanted to be a defense coordinator. He wanted to follow Fran Brown. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. And you see they hit the ground running in 2025 class, and obviously with the portal class of 2024, getting Tom McCord, Savion Washington, guys like Deuce, Deuce Chestnut,
Yeah.
um, your guy from A&M Phil Diggs. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can tell you for a fact that Elijah Robinson, had he not gone to Syracuse, was going to be paid as a position coach, one of, if not the highest paid position coaches in all of college football. He was going to be paid handsomely. I'm saying he took a pay. I don't know if he took a pay cut or not at Syracuse. However, there was plenty of opportunity for him to stay at Texas A&M. He chose to go to Syracuse. He's excited. He's ready to prove himself. He's ready to take the next step. It's an exciting time for Syracuse fans.